Right, we've got a good one today. The first, coming back to where we really started with content on the channel, grow out videos where you're going to be able to watch along batches of fish this year, at each selection getting an update and being able to follow the progress. Today's a great one, Marudo Koi Farm, Mujimono. Mujimono is basically single coloured varieties, but it's primarily his Karashigoi. I was very lucky to be able to obtain some this year. I believe it's the only batch that's made it into the UK. They are super popular because Marudo Mujimono varieties are monstrous, and I mean monstrous growers. Now, a farm that's revered for its Go Sankey, especially its Sankey bloodline, also has an unbelievable reputation, right up there, only seconded by Marusei for his Chagoi, Ginrin Chagoi, Karashi and all those single coloured fish. Where all this started at Marudo, during his years as an apprentice at Karashigoi Koi Farm, he used to visit Marusei and he was fascinated to see these 80, 90 and 100 centimetre single coloured fish. He loved the elegance of how they swimmed, and he decided it's something that he wanted to breed and produce one day. So that's exactly what he did. Now in this video, I'm going to show you the results. It's not an easy one to demonstrate what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to sell. Right now, there's a limited quantity anyway. The main focus for me is I've got to reduce the numbers because these have already grown. It's been mental actually how they've grown. They're in one of my 1200 gallon ponds and it's been absolutely bonkers. So I need to get some weight out to go on to that next stage. But honestly, you'll see there's very little difference in what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to grow. We'll have a look at them anyway, see where they're at size-wise today. When they actually arrived, there was only hitting 12 to 15 centimetres. They were tiny. You're going to see a massive jump already in a short space of time. We're going to have a look at that. I'm also going to give you some more information about how this wonderful bloodline was created. So stay tuned. Right now I'm going to get into my selection, then we'll have a look at them in closer detail. So right away, this is something, I think it's been a while since I've touched upon it, so we'll have a refresher. Koi, even this is all the same spawning. So the Karashigoi, let's focus on them, all the same spawning. I did keep a few Ginrin Chags in here, but the likelihood is most of these are going to come out now, except for one or two. But let's focus on the Karashi, because like I say, all the same spawning, but you always get these different growth patterns, look. So already, we've got this Ginrin example. In fact, let's go in with normal. You've got that one there, which already has actually grown substantially from where these were at. But then we've got something like that, look, straight away. So those, it's just nuts that. When you've got those fish, now there's half a chance that that small one, because I've done it and proven it many a times, if you isolate the smaller ones into a less competitive environment, because they are way below the average, as we can see, if we isolate those into a pond with fish of a similar size, there's a chance you can actually get them moving again. If you leave them in this environment, you've got no hope. Just as we're doing it as well, look, that's just swum past me. That's got a bit of a funky deformity. Just little things you need to look for. Actually look behind the head, look, it's almost like someone's drawn a line, which is actually a dent right at the back of the head. So it's actually making it look like it's got powerful shoulders and good hat, but it actually is not that, it's a deformity. Shame. So all these little bits I'll be looking for, but yeah, that one with the growth pattern, I think that's important to know, because if you saw that fish, one of those smaller ones in isolation, you'd say, all right, that's a fair size for a Tosai at that age. And it is actually. When you see it in the group, you get to understand what's going on. And even amongst the average, there will be a few as we go along that are absolute standout growers. The likelihood is as well, they're going to be a problem for me, because what they'll tend to do is shoot on and be super dominant, and it only takes a small percentage of these dominant fish and I'll be losing centimetres out the average population. That really matters more to me as from a commercial aspect, but it's something worth bearing in mind anyway, especially if you're growing Tosai in a dedicated pond and you're looking to get the most out of them. Now I am genuinely, I can't remember, I don't think I did any single coloured Mujimonos last year, not anything of any real powerhouse in note like these. I'm excited to see what we can get done with them. Like I say, I have had Marudo Karashi before and I had fantastic results, but it wasn't even at the time when I was feeding Saki Akari, to be honest. So now, you know, this being further down the line as we are with a lot of stuff, I'm excited to see what we can actually push out of these, because it really does make a difference when you've got a genuinely jumbo bloodline that can deliver genetically. It's just effortless trying to get them to go. It really is. Right, so they have been very, very stable so far in regards to deformities, but just to share it with you, look, this little Karashi, this is an absolutely brutal one. Fish is surviving and living perfectly well, but look at that gill cover, complete gill flap deformity there, exposing the gill. That's nuts. Definitely a birth defect. Crazy stuff. But seemingly living perfectly well with it. And the selection is pretty much done now. Mainly look like a bit of a size grade, to be honest, more than anything, just to level it all out. So I'm excited is where I've got with them. You wouldn't think it a single coloured fish, but now I've began looking at these, seeing the characteristics and getting excited for what could come by the end of the year with them, knowing that genetic potential as well. So I'm going to get these zipped up, we'll prepare a bowl and have a bit more of a chat about this bloodline and what we're looking at in front of us. Right, let's start with the history. It all started with Marudo Koi. Now, the original parent fish came from a hobbyist who was actually breeding in Toyama. That's about an hour outside of Nagaoka. And the original pairing that guy created was by crossing Chagoi with Kurogoi, which is basically just a black looking Chagoi. That pairing was producing fish of 100 to 120 centimeters, which had basically koaku characteristics in the shoulders and the head and the body frame setup. Marudo came across one of these fish in Rinko magazine, beast of a thing, and that's the actual parent fish that he managed to get hold of. That became the very base of Marudo Koi, pairing from that fish. And from there, to create Karashigoi, he went and added another powerhouse genetic, a male fish from Konishi Karashigoi, probably the most famous Karashi line that there is. This is just powerhouse genetics for big jumbo growing fish. That now, these fish in front of you are from a second generation set, so it is now very much the Marudo line. And you do get the separate spawnings and parent fish for Chagoi from that original set, and now very much Karashigoi and Deutsch Karashigoi as well. I have got a few of them, but I'm not going to be releasing them till a later date. So what I've got in front of me is 28 fish that I'm actually going to be releasing for sale this weekend on the website. I'll put full details for that below in the description if you are interested in getting your hands on one of these. They'll be very sensible prices as well, and available to ship from next week as well. What we're looking at in front of me here is, I mean, the grading that I've just basically done is all around size. It's basically everything from 22 cm upwards I've kept. The size in here is 18 to 22 cm. I'll actually be putting these as two separate sizes on the website as well. So below 20 cm and over 20 cm will be the two options available. Colour wise, Marudo's pretty consistent, so you don't actually tend to get a lot of variance. You won't get the mango colour, that's not what this is. It's very much like the Konishi thing. It's all about body frame, genetics, power and growth. However, they have got a very stable yellow colour. It's just not the super rich one. You'll see a couple in here a little bit darker. That's not the norm, it's not the average with this. What you do want to focus on in here is just that body. You can see actually in the setup of all of them, there's just huge length from the head. They've got big heads as well, but there's big distance from the back of the head to the dorsal, which is all those power characteristics that you want to see. Those power characteristics come from the very fact that the parent fish now used at that second generation level are all over 100 centimeters. Karashi, Chagoi, you name it, they're absolute beasts. So I'm just gonna we'll take a closer look, point out a few little characteristics in where these are at right now. Then we'll take a little look at the fish going back for further growing. Right, now excuse the algae waste in the bowl with the feeder off. These things don't stop and they've clearly gone to the walls and stripped all the algae off. However, just want to point out, look, so one actually thing I want to just show you, because it's not a problem. This, when you look on the head right now, you'll see this weird, it's almost like a spot right back here. That's just the brain area and around the skull part. The minute these get a bit bigger and the skin gets more thickness, that'll just become uniform. So right now we're just going to completely ignore the existence of that. But if you look consistently throughout them, you can see prominent backbones popping up. You can see great strong head shapes. There's width there, there's power in that head, power in that whole body, but great length to all of them as well. There's nothing looks stumpy. They're building nice volume, but they still look lean, and that's what we're really looking for. And we've got strong mouths as I look across the batch, but as you can see, very consistent coloration. You look at that one, a cracking height forming as well. I do like to see fish that can really grow will have this length. You don't want too much power. They'll have a nice taper, but they'll have strength at the peduncle as well. Right, in here I have got a sample of the fish from what I'm keeping. I think there's about 100 going back into that 1200 gallon pond. Now what I want to point out here, although this is my first selection of these, the first time I just took a load of chagoi out the pond, so technically on the Karashigoi this is the first selection. When these arrived to me, and it wasn't, I can't remember when, it was certainly no more than 8 weeks ago, these came in at 12 to 15 centimeters. Now what's in this bowl on average is 22 to 26 centimeters at the minute. It's already phenomenal where they've got to. There's a good chunk of fish come out today, and that's going to allow these to absolutely race on now as well. It's exciting stuff. I've got to say, I've got very giddy throughout the course of today, just picturing what I could end up doing with these, the size of Nisai could potentially have. Mega stuff. Anyway, as you will see when we do look at these, there's nothing really to define between them. It's just that size range. This is over where I've been with the fish that we're going to be releasing for now. The difference in here, in all reality, I'll show you. A couple look a bit thicker. That's normal because they're a bit of a bigger fish. But overall, I think the colour and everything's pretty much identical. I have, however, put a few of the Deutsch Karashigoi in here now. I'm a massive fan of Deutsch Karashi. There's a few with the more Aragoki informal scale lines, which has become very popular, but also a few with the more, I really love them when they've got the uniform scale line down the lateral and the dorsal. Those, for now, I'm going to keep hold of. They will be available a little bit later down the line. I just want to see how they progress a little bit more. Some of them are actually lagging behind. They don't normally. They can grow equally as fast as the normal Wagoi type. So let's have a quick look at what we've got in here, and then I've just got a little bonus bit at the end, something I've got a very limited amount of that are going to be coming as well. So as you can see, not that much difference between the other bowl. They're just a bit longer, and with that extra size you do generally tend to see the features showing a bit more head sizes. Like I say, a couple of these are generally a little bit weightier and thicker, but what these are going to do for a good few years is kind of be a little bit more of a submarine sort of shape before they really start to pack on that volume. I think when they hit the 60-ish mark and above now, being honest, depending on what I get with these, possibly with some winter growing as I move them to a bigger pond at some point, I think we're going to be looking at quite a few 60 to 65 centimetre Nisai out of here, given what I've done with other stuff last year. In amongst these we have got those Deutsch pieces, look. Really, really cool. Different kind of scale patterns. That one's got the linear line on the top, and then the little line of scales down the lateral. See, that one's got a bigger line. These look really, really cool as they get bigger. If you're into that sort of stuff, I am. They're going to look mega. But yeah, I genuinely, the more and more I look at these, I'm getting more and more excited for what's to come from this powerhouse bloodline. There it is again. But like I say already, from 12 to 15 to 22 to 26 in here, without really trying. I mean, that pond was packed out with 300 fish to begin with. I'd say there's probably been still 160 to 180 with what's coming out today. Crazy stuff. So I'll get these back in. This is going to be the point of reference for what we're going to really call now this initial phase of us documenting these. We'll see where they got to by the next selection. I should imagine at the rate they're growing, it's not going to be too long before I've got to take more weight out of the pond and get that number down from the 100 it's going to be at. Right, the little bonus bit. I'm undecided. The quality of this is grow on level fish. Right now I don't know where they can go because they're sitting undersized to go back in here, but also the variety. Marudo did start doing a Ginrin variation of his Karashi, and what would my life be without some Ginrin Karashi in it, eh? We've been Yellow Monkeys, Saito, and now we've got Marudo, and these things look insane, and they've still got those bonkers genetics. So I'll lift them into here, we'll have a look. There's a few Deutz pieces here as well, and I've even got 2 or 3 Chagoi. So I am going to be deciding how I could possibly keep these to grow, and as soon as I can physically microchip them, we'll possibly be offering these out, including some growing options as well. But stand by on that one. I can't promise you anything yet. I've got to figure the logistics out. For now, we're just going to admire what's going on in here, whet the appetite, let's say. So as we can see here, look, these really are the level of that Ginrin. That bone structure. These Deutz look as well. Superb. Even the Chagois, I mean, there's only a couple darker coloured one, but again, that Ginrin level. This is actually a Chagoi, lighter coloured. I think with another here, lighter coloured, but again, that Ginrin quality. Just when you look throughout, look, they're absolutely mesmerising. That shine level. So I'm going to get my head around that one, because it's not that these won't grow. The minute I can give them the right conditions, where it's less competitive, they'll be off and they'll be away, and I think there's some pretty special fish to come out of here. So that's the Marudo Karashigoi, part 1 of this journey on that one. Loads packed into there, and hopefully you've learned a little bit more about why this is a special Mujimono bloodline. I think it's going to be great fun following these through to the end of their journey for sure. And for now, you're going to be able to get your hands on one. Like I say, all that information you need for one of those earlier batches in the description. And bear with me on those Ginrins at the end. If you start dropping me a message, I might likely ignore you at a minute. Just let me get it sorted. But I think they're going to be also very, very impressive pieces. Yeah, there we go. Look forward to the next part. Like I say, don't think that's going to be very long. But for now, I'm going to get this lot back together. I think it's time for some ice cold. Yeah, these are Karashigoi. They're yellow. They grow big. End of video. Right, game face, game face. I can't do it. You need to fuck off, it's your fault.